Welcome. Today we're exploring the role of code switching in English as a second language, ESL classrooms. Code switching or CS is the practice of alternating between two or more languages within a single conversation. This phenomenon is common among bilinguals and multilinguals and has become a topic of interest in language teaching. In recent years, educators have debated whether code switching helps or hinders language acquisition. Our journey will examine research, teacher perspectives, and practical classroom insights to understand how CS can enhance ESL instruction. Let's begin by defining code switching and why it matters in modern classrooms. Code switching refers to the use of more than one language or dialect within a conversation or even a single sentence. It's a natural dynamic process that occurs worldwide, transcending cultures and communities. In the context of ESL, teachers and students may switch between English and their native language to clarify meaning, explain concepts, or foster understanding. This practice is also known as language alternation or code mixing. Understanding the mechanics of code switching is crucial for educators aiming to create inclusive and effective learning environments for diverse student populations. ESL classrooms are unique spaces where students are learning English as a second language, often coming from various linguistic backgrounds. Teachers face the challenge of making lessons accessible and engaging for all learners. Code switching emerges as a practical strategy to bridge language gaps, especially when students struggle with comprehension. By examining code switching in ESL settings, we can better understand its potential to support language acquisition, communication, and classroom participation. This focus is particularly relevant in multicultural and multilingual educational environments. Technical and Vocational Training Corporation, TVTC, in Saudi Arabia provides a compelling backdrop for studying code switching. With over 260 branches and a mission to develop a skilled workforce, TVTC's English language program serves students from diverse backgrounds. Teachers at TVTC often encounter varying levels of English proficiency, making code switching a relevant instructional tool. By focusing on this context, researchers can observe how code switching is used in real-world classrooms and its impact on student learning outcomes. Study at hand investigates three main questions. How does code switching affect students' language acquisition, comprehension, and communication skills? What are the potential drawbacks of using code switching as a strategy? And finally, what are the best practices for implementing code switching in the ESL classroom? By addressing these questions, the research aims to provide a balanced view of the benefits and challenges associated with code switching, offering practical insights for teachers and policymakers. Previous studies have shown that code switching serves both educational and emotional purposes in language classrooms. For example, research in Indonesia and China found that teachers use code switching to clarify concepts, manage classroom interactions, and support students' effective needs. Other studies highlight that code switching can reinforce complex language concepts, boost student confidence, and create a more inclusive environment. However, researchers also caution that its effectiveness depends on how and when it is used, as well as student proficiency levels. In the ESL classroom, code switching fulfills several functions. Teachers use it to explain new vocabulary, clarify grammar rules, provide instructions, and manage classroom behavior. It can also help prevent misunderstandings and ensure that all students are on the same page. By switching languages strategically, teachers can scaffold learning, making challenging content more accessible. This flexibility allows educators to adapt their teaching to the needs of diverse learners, fostering a more supportive and effective learning environment. To evaluate code switching's efficacy, the study used a mixed methods approach. This included content analysis of classroom audio recordings and a questionnaire distributed to 52 English teachers at TVTC. Content analysis helped identify when and why teachers switched languages, while the questionnaire captured teachers' perceptions and experiences. This comprehensive approach allowed researchers to triangulate data, ensuring a more nuanced understanding of code switching's role in ESL instruction. Study's participants included 52 English language teachers from various TVTC colleges. The group was nearly evenly split between male and female teachers, with a range of teaching experience from 1 to over 20 years. Most teachers taught beginner or intermediate students, reflecting the diversity of English proficiency levels in the classroom. This variety in backgrounds and experience levels provided a rich source of perspectives on the use of code switching in ESL instruction. The questionnaire used in the study was carefully designed to ensure validity and reliability. It consisted of demographic questions and three main sections aligned with the research questions. Each section included statements rated on a 5-point Likert scale, allowing teachers to express their level of agreement. Statistical analysis confirmed that the questionnaire was both valid and reliable, providing confidence in the results and insights drawn from teacher responses. Teachers generally agreed that code switching positively affects students' language acquisition, comprehension, and communication skills. Many found it easier for students to understand complex concepts and new vocabulary when code switching was used. Teachers also noted that code switching can scaffold learning, support the development of grammar skills, and boost students' confidence in using English. These findings suggest that, when used strategically, code switching can be a valuable tool for enhancing ESL instruction. Despite its benefits, code switching is not without drawbacks. Some teachers express concerns that frequent code switching might limit students' exposure to English, create dependency on their native language, or disrupt the flow of communication. Others worried it could hinder the development of English fluency and independent learning. However, overall teacher responses were neutral, indicating that the perceived negatives depend on how code switching is implemented and the specific classroom context. Teachers agreed on several best practices for using code switching in the ESL classroom. They recommended using code switching intentionally to clarify difficult concepts, provide clear instructions, and scaffold learning. Importantly, teachers suggested that code switching should be gradually reduced as students' English proficiency improves. Using students' native languages as a bridge can help them understand new English concepts, but the ultimate goal should be to encourage active use of English and foster independent language skills. Study also analyzed audio recordings from 3 ESL lessons. Teachers with varying years of experience use code switching for purposes such as giving instructions, explaining vocabulary, teaching grammar, and encouraging students. The percentage of code switching ranged from 13.5% to 25.7%, reflecting different teaching styles and student needs. These findings highlight the flexibility of code switching as a tool for supporting communication and learning in diverse classroom settings. Research and teacher feedback highlight several benefits of code switching for ESL learners. It helps clarify complex concepts, maintains student engagement, and creates a comfortable learning environment. Code switching can also make lessons more relatable by connecting content to students' cultural backgrounds. When used thoughtfully, it supports vocabulary development, comprehension, and active participation, especially for beginners or students struggling with new material. Critics of code switching argue that it can confuse learners and hinder the development of English fluency. Over-reliance on code switching may perpetuate native language interference and limit opportunities for authentic English practice. Some also point out that it could reinforce unequal power dynamics in the classroom or be less effective in large group settings. These challenges underscore the importance of strategic, balanced use of code switching tailored to student needs and classroom context. Effectiveness of code switching depends on several factors: the proficiency level of learners, the instructional context, and the teacher's skill in both languages. For beginners, code switching can provide essential scaffolding. In small groups or one-on-one settings, it may be more appropriate than in large classes. Teachers who are fluent in both English and the student's native language can use code switching more effectively, adapting their approach to maximize learning outcome. Experts recommend that code switching should not replace other effective teaching strategies. Instead, it should be used strategically and intentionally to support learning. Teachers are encouraged to use code switching as a bridge, gradually reducing its use as students become more proficient in English. This approach ensures that students benefit from the support code switching provides without becoming overly reliant on their native language. It's important to acknowledge the limitations of the research. The sample size was relatively small, with only 52 teachers participating. Audio recordings were limited and conducted at the end of the training course, which may have influenced results. Expanding the study to include more classrooms and diverse student levels could provide a more comprehensive understanding of code switching's role in ESL instruction. As language education evolves, code switching continues to be a relevant topic. New contexts such as online learning and social media present fresh opportunities and challenges for code switching and communication. Understanding its role in shaping language learning and classroom dynamics is increasingly important for educators, linguists, and policymakers. Ongoing research will help refine best practices and ensure that code switching is used to its fullest potential. In summary, code switching is a multifaceted strategy that, when used thoughtfully, can enhance ESL instruction by supporting comprehension, engagement, and language development. However, it's essential to balance its use to avoid potential drawbacks such as dependency or limited English exposure. Teachers should adapt their approach based on student needs, classroom context, and their own language skills. As research continues, educators are encouraged to stay informed and reflective about their code switching practices to create the most effective learning environments possible.